How will the fourth industrial revolution mean? What will it exactly mean for cities? And what does this mean for business and government planners who have to accommodate self-driving cars, automation and additive manufacturing? Well, we find out from Futurist, Fletcher. Fletcher, good morning.
Good morning.
So obviously this is very exciting and scary at the same time.
Yes.
My question would be, are African cities ready for this?
Well, I think they're as ready as anybody is, to be honest with you. I mean, it is a revolution. It is the fourth industrial revolution, and it will bring massive change. But we're talking about the death of old school factories in industry, for example. We're talking about small production units hooked up by the Internet of Things, machines that repair themselves with very little human involvement. And there are social implications with unemployment and so on, technology gaps with all of that. But it's on its way, so we need to be prepared.
Because we were sitting with some gentlemen who operate in the infrastructure space, and they were telling us that the infrastructure deficit on the continent is in the ranges of up to $100 billion. Now, if you're bringing technology and making these smart cities, surely that's going to need a lot more dollars to create.
Yes, it is. A lot of it will be driven by private enterprise, because smart technologies, being as portable and small as they are, with the prices dropping as they are today, are much more accessible to small business owners. So I think that's exciting for Africa in the sense that it might allow more entrepreneurs to get involved in industry. If you're talking about building a factory for a big production chain, that's expensive. But if you're building one unit within that entire chain and it's separate from all the others and they're hooked up by the Internet of Things, that is actually quite reasonable. So it might open doors as well for the young business owner.
Let's talk about the social impacts. You've talked about job losses, and a lot of world leaders have talked about this, questioning, are we ready for that, and what will replace that, and how will this impact GDP growth across the countries that are involved here? What would be the best way to go about this?
Well, we have to first identify the problem and specifics rather than generalities. So there's two issues here. One is underemployment and one is productivity losses. Underemployment, we expect in the UK, where I live, to see 35% of jobs become automated in the next 20 years. Now, of course, technology always invents new kinds of jobs, but the question we face now is whether we as human beings can transition fast enough from one kind of, not job, but entire livelihood to another within a short space of time. And then productivity is the other issue, and that there's a lot of studies that indicate that productivity in human beings goes down the more we rely on digital equipment, because we farm out all of the complex jobs, and with that our skill sets drop, and therefore our motivation and therefore our productivity. So these are important questions for civic planners to look at, I think.
And who is responsible to ensure that that transition does happen fast enough? I mean, do we leave it at the hands of a government, or is it a business's role to ensure that their workforce is skilled with these digital skills such that they don't have to cut jobs?
Well, unfortunately for governments, we're living in a sharing economy somewhat today, which means it's hard to regulate. You know, if you're talking about regulating buildings through an Institute of Architects, that's easy. But if you're talking about regulating people with their own designs online, taking their own actions, that's quite difficult, which is why Uber is always in court these days in Europe. So I think that the future is about a mixture of government regulation plus sector self-regulation plus automation, which allows us to nudge people perhaps in the direction of certain types of behavior.
Interesting, exciting and scary. We leave it there. Many thanks, Fletcher, who is a futurist looking at what the future could be for all of us.